There has been more activity on my street. How do I know what is suspicious activity on my street? What should I look for? You look for the beady eyes. Suspicious activity. Only you would know that. Does that activity and that person fit into your community? That's why it's so important to get to know the people in your community. Because what may be suspicious to me on my block may be different for you on your block. So it's always good to get to know your neighbors. That way you guys can call each other. You know who each other are. And it's better for you to be able to spot that suspicious activity. But if you see somebody walking up and down your street you don't know, and they're knocking on doors or they're jiggling car doors, yeah, give us a call. I'd rather have you err on the side of calling us and have us respond to nothing than for you to let that go by and us not respond and have somebody have their home or their car broken into. So, does that make sense? Give us a call if you're not sure. Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, isn't that considered low priority though? If I call and say I see suspicious activity and you're going to say that's low priority.
Well, here's what you need to do. Yeah, if you call communications, and I worked communications for nearly 3 years, so I know how the process works. There is a vetting process. They have to prioritize their calls for service. So the more articulation you can give them, if you call them and say, yeah, I think there's some suspicious activity, and they ask you, why do you think it's suspicious? And you say, because it's suspicious. He's got beady eyes. Then, yeah, that's not going to be high priority. But if you can articulate, yeah, I saw this guy on my block. I've never seen him before. I don't believe he lives here. He's walking around checking people's front doors, seeing if they're open. He's wiggling car doors to see if they're open. That is really suspicious activity for which I have worked with communications to get that a higher priority call. So you have to articulate what you see, and then when you do, if you can get a description, that's even better. If you can call and say, he's a male white, he's got very short hair, a nicely trimmed mustache, and he's short, 5'6", and if he's in a police uniform. But anyways, the more articulation you can give us, the better.
Okay.
You may. And this is Detective Teresa Gordon, who is our burglary detective.
Hello.
I'm sorry I'm a little late. I was actually out on a burglary call today. That's one of our protocols that we do have the detectives roll out now, trying something new to help everybody. But I just kind of want to touch on what the captain was just saying. Although sometimes we might not be able to get out there right away, when I'm going through all the burglary reports in the morning, it's really important, and we do look into any kind of prowler calls that were in the area. So I do have somebody that goes through all the calls, and what's kind of nice about that is we've been able to put together maybe a license plate that somebody called in that was a prowler with a vehicle description. We really didn't know what they were doing, but now we know that we have a burglary that's around the block with the same type of description of a vehicle. So that kind of helps us with the clues. So that's where maybe the immediate response isn't coming for those kind of calls, but you can see where the importance is going to come when we have that ability to follow up. So that's why we really stress on having you guys out there as eyes and ears and being able to get back to us so that we can do those follow-ups. That's how we catch people. It's very difficult, you know, when we come to your house after the fact, if we don't have any of the videos or the prints, then we're going to need those extra things. So I think that might answer that question. I kind of want to go back real quick, and I apologize. Don't want to run over the captain. But I think somebody was bringing up the realtors. And I was talking to Officer Cunningham, and if I understood him correctly, and if this is not what you're speaking about, please let me know. Open houses? Was that what it was about?
Yeah, my neighbor, they don't report when things are stolen from them or other people. I'm like, why aren't you reporting it? You need to go to neighboring blocks. But they cover so many different slow areas that they don't. I said, they've been talking to each other. I said, you need to get some sort of Facebook or some sort of listing, and you need to go to training, and you can be alone. But I'm just me, and they will listen to you. But they don't, there's a lot more unreported crimes. The person I was talking to, we have a lot of open houses.
Right.
And I said they need to get a hold of you, and they need some sort of plan or do that.
Well, you know, we're more than willing to give training.
I'm doing that right now.
If you're emailing them, why don't you provide them with my email? It's pretty simple. It's 27033 at lapd.lacity.org. That email is also available for anybody else that has questions. I love emails. It's easier for me to respond to them than the phone messages. Teresa Gordon. Okay, and I think, ma'am, you had a question? Maybe somebody over here? No? Okay. Any other questions with the burglary stuff before I give it back to the captain?
Can you repeat your email again?
Yes, it starts, my serial number, 27033 at lapd.lacity.org.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry, Kat.
Thank you. Okay, now this was a good question. Last Christmas, I backed up in the Rite Aid parking lot and ran over Santa. I'm sorry, no, it didn't say that. It said, and hit an old woman. It took my insurance company 6 months to prove fraud by a gypsy family. Are these people still active in the valley? And unfortunately, I don't have anybody here from Valley Traffic. Valley Traffic would handle stuff like this, and I don't have anybody from there. And this is the first I've heard of it, so I don't know if this is a big issue. Do you know, Commander? Yes, ma'am.
It's me. I was told by my insurance company that a lot of the slip and falls, the backing up into someone at night in a parking lot where you didn't see them, all of this kind of stuff. My insurance company told me there's 3 families that work the entire country. They intermarry and they move from area to area. When they get busted too much in one area, they move somewhere else. And it was totally a setup. I could tell it was a setup from the get-go. My insurance went up $2,000 a year for 6 months until they were able to prove fraud. My insurance company's big boss apparently had a big wall in his office with pictures of these people who married him, and it was horrible. It ruined my Christmas. I mean, I thought I injured this old woman, and it was horrible. And it was a setup. The whole thing was a setup, and they finally proved it. But they were trying to get me to not call the police. They called me on the phone, and like she had more injuries, and they wanted me to give them money. I was just keeping. I wasn't answering the phone. I was just keeping the records, and it was really, really horrible.
I lived next door to a big gypsy clan family for 2 years. Ryan knows about it. They ran a lot of stuff because I wasn't on Main Street. They ran a lot of crimes through that house. We got to see it over and over and over again. I became like kind of a mini expert on it. I even went to the FBI on it, and now they're gone. But I now know every gypsy family in the area. As soon as Charlie Beck got rid of the gypsy crime unit, it went up on the gypsy blog, and in 2 months, everybody moved this way. I've been in touch with the New Jersey